We're down at Sandringham for an exercise on Port Phillip Bay between Ambulance Victoria and their helicopter you can see behind me and our marine search and rescue volunteers.
Today we're undertaking water and vessel winch currency training for all of our HEMS crews, so intensive care flight paramedics, aircraft officers and pilots.
Look, exercising is so important between our agencies to make sure that when they have to do it in more difficult and challenging conditions, that they know exactly what each other's capabilities are and how they work together.
The first one is simulating that, say, people have abandoned their boat, a yacht or similar, and deployed a small life raft. And so we're practicing the skills of recovering someone from that. So a really big raft we can winch directly into and out of, but these small rafts are a little bit trickier. So we're practicing putting the paramedic in the water to swim up to the raft, get a patient harness around the patient, and then we get them out into the water and get them well clear to make sure they're not tangled up in anything, and then recover them to the aircraft. The second cycle we're doing is if somebody's just out in the water. So we're using what we call a hypothermic strap technique. So the harness goes around the patient's chest and another one under their legs to try and bring them out of the water, sort of in a semi-recumbent seated style as opposed to vertically. It has some physiological differences when you recover from the water. And then the third event we're doing is recovering a mannequin. So we're using a mannequin rather than a real person off the back of the boat. So we use a technique where we deliver a rope with a weight on it to the boat. So as we winch the person out of the aircraft, the deck crew can actually heave them in onto the boat. The paramedics are then applying a patient harness to the mannequin and then recovering back up to the aircraft.
Our role with Air Ambulance Victoria is to provide a platform where pilots, winchmen and then paramedics can participate in training. And it takes a lot of concentration to hold the vessel in position when the helicopter comes over. And even though our boats look pretty big, it's a very small target for them to actually get on board.
And a training day like today without the criticality of a real task is certainly a lot of fun, but what we're doing is high risk, high consequence and very physically challenging. So there's only about 45 of us in the whole state that do this role. So incredibly unique, but incredibly rewarding.